Welcome back, guys. It's Kanji once again. Didn't take long after my last video that I've literally just posted, but we just had a delivery today, and as you can see, it is Mr. Satan from SH Figuarts. So, what can I say? I've been excited for this figure for quite a while. It's a real surprise character. I don't think we were expecting it. I got it down pretty quickly from Nippon Yasan. Shout out to them. Using EMS delivery. It took about a week to come down, so that's awesome stuff. And yeah, if you can find him or pick him up, then I would recommend it. It's a pretty good figure. But let's get into it. So straight away, the box. Nothing really that exciting to say. It's the typical SH Figuarts box. You've got the TUI logo on there. You've got the web shop exclusive, Bandai premium Bandai kind of logo there to show that it is a web shop exclusive. Dragon Ball Z, the Bandai Tamashii logos, your Tamashii Nations quality sticker, and then obviously the name, Mr. Satan, along with some cool art there. Side of the box, more art. You can see there, and obviously B, one of the accessories. And then on the back, a few ideas of what you can do with him in terms of his poses and accessories and whatnot. And then obviously the usual Japanese spiel down the bottom there. His name on the side again. Top, exciting. And of course, bottom there, some more crazy Mr. Satan posing. So, shall we get on to the figure itself? Here we go. Mr. Satan in all his glory. I have to say, this is a remarkable figure. Tamashii Nation seems to go through, Tamashii seems to go through a phase of doing some really great figures. And then they kind of drop the ball a bit and give us some kind of weak figures with, a few QC issues. And then they come back and then they give us, a perfect figure like this Mr. Satan. And I think it's to do with like whether they intend to do another version of the figure. So for example, they never seem to ever do a perfect Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks, or most recently Gotenks figure. And I think the reason is with their Saiyans, they like to give the option to then get people to basically buy future variants. Whereas with characters like Mr. Satan and like Majin Buu, they're kind of definitive. I don't think Tamashii have got any plans to ever do another Fat Buu, to ever do another Mr. Satan, to ever do like another Nappa, for example. And so really they gave them all the bells and whistles and just got them perfect first time, really. So that seems to be their game. But anyway, I've played around a little bit with Mr. Satan, and what you'll notice straight away, I guess, is the clothes that he's wearing are not the same ones that you may see when you open your package. I've played around with them a little bit, and I actually use, I don't know if anyone has got these, but I've got these colour mangas, and so basically it has in there like the whole of Dragon Ball, all in colour with some great kind of art. And what's great is that sometimes you can like see poses and things of characters that you can kind of try and replicate. And straight away, I wanted to do this one, and like a lot of people have said, I think the biggest issue with this particular figure, so we'll get that out of the way, is the articulation in the legs is restricted due to this his kind of gi, I suppose, which is a bit unfortunate. I think it was kind of expected. You can see there where it's kind of joined, so it can't really split apart any further. And so even though the actual articulation should allow for the knee to go further up, you can't, because it's being restricted by the gi. And that's just kind of, a limitation, I guess. But other than that, the articulation like in the waist and like the legs and all the rest of it are pretty good. Now I'd say he's a pretty solid figure. Ankles, knees. Again, restrict a little bit in terms of this splitting ability. Arms, they've got this swivel joint. Elbows, wrists, same on the other side. And of course his head. And the other thing I'd say about his head is, whilst it does go down quite well, it doesn't have much in terms of like looking up, but I think that's, you know, pretty standard. Now the interesting thing about this figure is he comes apart very differently to others. So when you want to do the head swaps, as opposed to just the head popping off the neck, it's actually the whole neck comes off the body, which I thought was quite surprising. But yeah, that's basically how it comes apart. And then that just kind of pops back in. So yeah, be careful when you take him apart. And then secondly, the waist comes apart just like that for belt swaps. So what I will do now is I will put that back on and show you some of the accessories. So we'll just put them in there. So, accessory time. So first of all, he comes with a cape, and that can be quite easily placed on him just by removing the head and sticking it on, which is quite a nice addition. And I guess it's kind of like he always wears that when he turns up. Beginning of Cell games, beginning of Boo Saga, when he rocks up, he kind of has the cape. Then you have a nice variety of belts, and for those who aren't familiar with the belts, this one with the eagle on was from the Cell Saga when he first arrived, and I think it's kind of based on like the WWF wrestling logo, very similar to the championship belt I think Hulk Hogan used to have. And then for whatever reason, I don't know whether it was for copyright reasons or for whatever reason, Akira Toriyama forgot what he'd done previously, was probably the most likely answer to that. It changed to this kind of bat logo with champion on it. So those are the two belts, and this is the belt that he wore during the Boo Saga. So they can be placed on quite nice. In terms of hands, I think quite a few people have shown he comes with these kind of peace signs. So you can have him in his iconic pose with the cape doing peace. That's probably how I'm going to display him. And then, obviously, the default he comes with are the fists. Not really that exciting. And pretty much every Figuarts I think in existence has come with fists. Seems to be pretty standard. Then you've got some kind of a little bit different hands. You've got a finger pointing finger, which is kind of nice. I don't know if you can get focus on that, but yeah, it's quite a nice figure. And then you've got his kind of thumbs up, classic Mr. Satan style. And then finally, well, I say finally, we have all the faces. So, just get these out. He comes with some absolutely brilliant faces. I mean, I'll start off straight away. That one is just absolutely hilarious. That's obviously Mr. Satan in his typical shocked expression when he realises that something is not what it seems and he's about to get beaten up. Next up is the smiling, kind of shouting, arriving at the stadium kind of Mr. Satan face. Don't know if you can see that. It's kind of a nice face. And then, of course, his kind of stoic moustache face. There you go. So yeah, some pretty cool faces. And then finally, bring you on to B, faithful dog of Mr. Satan and Majin Buu. He's kind of cool, and from what I understand, he actually has some articulation here. There we go. So his head does move from side to side, which is kind of a nice touch, I think. There's not really much of a up and down, but there's a tiny bit. So yeah, that is all of the accessories that the figure comes with. So I have to say, he's actually really, really good. Yeah, he retailed, I think, at about 7,000 yen. I think you can get him for like 8,000, something like that now. Obviously, US retailers will have him in stock at the end of next month. Oh, sorry, the end of this month, in fact, because he was a January release. And yeah, I don't really know what else I have to say. He's a pretty great figure. He is going to go into my Buu Saga display, I think, because that's the display that has the least, figures in it at the moment, and kind of needs a bit of a beefing up. And yeah, without further ado, that is Mr. Hercule Satan, and I hope you have enjoyed this review. Catch you later. Peace.